Erik Ten Hag has stopped the bleeding for now, but Zinedine Zidane could be called upon if Manchester United suffer any more wounds. Ten Hag's men came from behind to secure a vital 2-1 home victory over a dangerous Brentford side this weekend after Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund found the net to cancel out Ethan Pinnock's first-half opener. United have started the season abysmally, and another defeat could have been one too many for Ten Hag. He has already been granted a stay of execution as a meeting between United's top executives in London concluded with Ten Hag remaining in his post. However, the Dutchman's managerial life hasn't always been this hard. In fact, the roles were reversed in 2019 when his exciting Ajax side arrived at the Bernabeu to face a Real Madrid team stuttering under Santiago Solari. They were flailing, but a side featuring Luka Modric, Vinicius Jr., Karim Benzema, and many more were expected to navigate their way past a club who had not progressed from a Champions League knockout tie in 22 years. Yet the Amsterdam Giants humiliated Real on their own pitch, destroying them 4-1 to send the then 13-time European champions tumbling out of the competition at the round of 16 stage. Los Blancos' chief Florentino Perez immediately picked up the phone and pleaded with Zidane to return to the club. The legendary midfielder took his time to consider his options. Solari would manage one more game, a 4-1 victory over Real Valladolid, but the battering Ajax gave them made up his mind. A premature exit from the Champions League is difficult enough, but the manner in which Ten Hag's team pulled the European giants apart on their own field consigned Solari to the sack. At the time, it was believed that Zidane was interested in returning to the club, but not until the end of that campaign. Ten Hag's men significantly sped up that process, and he was back in the dugout within a matter of weeks, not months. Unfortunately for the 54-year-old, he is now in a similar position to Solari. The victory over Brentford will be a confidence boost, but there were times when he, once again, looked beleaguered and helpless as he watched his side run back towards their own goal, while opposition players looked for the kill. It could be said that Ten Hag now knows how Solari felt as the likes of Dusan Tadic, Hakim Ziyech, Frenkie de Jong, and Donny van de Beek hared down on the Real Madrid defense. Zidane has not managed since he left Real Madrid for a second time at the end of the 2020-21 campaign. He has been linked with a move to Old Trafford numerous times, but has never looked close to taking up the reins on the red side of Manchester. Ten Hag will be desperately hoping his side can use any momentum that was amassed from the victory over the London side. His side will need it, as they will walk into the cauldron that is the Şükrü Saracoğlu Stadium to face Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahçe side in the Europa League on Thursday, before traveling to the capital to face West Ham 3 days later. United are floundering in Europe and the Premier League, and anything less than 2 victories would see them lose even more ground. Fortunately for Ten Hag, he may not have to worry about looking over his shoulder to see if Zidane is there. As the Frenchman has previously said, his lack of fluency in speaking English may put him off managing in England. In 2022, he told L'Équipe, "If I go to a club, it's to win." I say this in all modesty. That's why I can't go anywhere. For other reasons, too, I might not be able to go everywhere. Which ones? The language, for example. Certain conditions make things more difficult. Would I want to go to Manchester United? I understand English, but I'm not completely fluent in it. I know that there are coaches who go to clubs without speaking the language, but I work in a different way. Hey, welcome back again. Leading Premier League injury expert Ben Dinnery believes Tyrell Malacia may not make a full return for Manchester United until next season. The Dutch left-back arrived at Old Trafford in July 2022 from Feyenoord on a 4-year deal for €15 million, £12.9 million, with a potential €2 million in further add-ons. Malacia made 39 appearances in his first season for the Reds, becoming an able deputy to Luke Shaw, but he has not played since due to a knee problem. The 25-year-old underwent surgery, but that did not go as planned. and he continues to work his way back to full fitness after undergoing another operation on the issue. Recent reports in the Dutch media have claimed that Malacia is very close to playing again and could even return to action by the end of October. However, Leny believes Malacia's full return to first-team action is still some way off. "I think he will be gradually integrated," he said. "I think we're probably looking at around about maybe 17 months. I'm sure it was around July last year when we last saw him. We're approaching around 15 or 16 months now. Like I said, he could be in and around that first-team squad and training with the group and getting that experience, but is he going to be pushing consistently for a start in that first team? Highly unlikely, particularly if you get some of those other players back in that United team." Leny also believes Shaw's availability is likely to set Malacia's return back further. The English fullback has yet to play for United this season, but Erik Ten Hag is hopeful of having his first-choice left-back available for selection soon. "Reintegration in the team needs to be managed very, very carefully," he added. Your question then is, does that coincide with the return of Shaw? Is he a player who would ordinarily be considered your first-choice left-back when everybody's fit? Probably not. His opportunities within that first team, and certainly minutes-wise, are probably going to be limited anyway, just in terms of depending upon the personnel available within that United squad. Ultimately, do I see Malacia being able to perform regularly at optimum levels in that United first team when everybody else is sort of fit and available on that left-hand side? Unfortunately not. It could be that we see him on the fringes of that first team squad, really just getting a feel of being back in that environment, and then ultimately getting a really solid preseason under his belt in 25-26, and then really sort of pushing and competing for a spot in that team. On a warm summer evening in July, the anticipation was palpable at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey as Manchester United prepared to face Arsenal in a preseason friendly. Among the many young talents eager to make an impression was 17-year-old French defender Leny Yoro, a summer signing whose presence on the pitch promised to add fresh energy to United's backline. It was a moment the teenager had dreamt of, a chance to show what he was capable of on one of football's biggest stages, wearing the iconic red jersey of Manchester United. But fate had other plans that evening. Early into the match, a seemingly innocuous challenge changed everything. Yoro fell awkwardly, clutching his foot in obvious discomfort. Medical staff rushed to his aid, and as the young defender was stretchered off the field, the look on his face told the story. This wasn't just a knock. It was serious. The diagnosis came quickly. Yoro had sustained a significant foot injury, one severe enough to require surgery. For any player, an injury like this would be a bitter pill to swallow, but for a teenager at the very start of his Manchester United career, it was nothing short of devastating. The surgery went well, but the road to recovery would be long. The club confirmed that Yoro would be out for several months, leaving him to watch from the sidelines as his teammates kicked off the new Premier League campaign. The news hit hard. Just weeks after signing with one of the biggest clubs in the world, Yoro's dream of making his mark on the pitch had been put on hold. But for those who knew the young defender, there was no doubt that he would return stronger. Yoro's resilience and determination were traits that had defined his rise through the ranks at Lille, where he had caught the eye of Manchester United scouts with his physicality, intelligence, and maturity beyond his years. Back in France, where Yoro had honed his craft in Lille's youth academy, he had always been known as a player who never shied away from a challenge. Whether it was a tough opponent or a difficult training session, Yoro approached every obstacle with a quiet confidence that belied his age. And now, as he faced the biggest challenge of his career so far, that same mentality would carry him through. The surgery was the first step, but the real work began in the weeks that followed. For 3 long months, Yoro threw himself into his rehabilitation, determined to return to the pitch as soon as possible. Day after day, he worked with Manchester United's medical team, focusing on strengthening his foot and regaining his fitness. The club provided him with the best possible care, but the process was slow and painful. At Carrington United's state-of-the-art training facility, Yoro spent hours in the gym, undergoing grueling physiotherapy sessions under the watchful eye of the club's medical staff. He worked on rebuilding the strength in his foot, following a meticulously designed program that aimed to ensure he would return stronger than ever. While his teammates trained on the grass, Yoro remained indoors, his focus entirely on the task at hand, getting back to full fitness. It was a lonely road at times. For a young player still finding his place in a new country and a new club, the isolation of injury rehab could have been overwhelming. But Yoro remained positive. He had come too far to let this setback derail his ambitions. His family, who had supported him throughout his career, provided him with the encouragement he needed to keep pushing through the tough days. And at Manchester United, he had the full backing of his manager, Erik Ten Hag, and the club's senior players. Throughout his recovery, Yoro was a regular presence at the club's matches, sitting in the stands as he watched his teammates battle through a difficult start to the season. United had been hit hard by injuries, particularly in defense, with key players like Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, and Harry Maguire all spending time on the sidelines. Yoro knew that once he was fit again, there would be opportunities for him to make his mark, but he also understood the importance of patience. As the weeks passed, Yoro's progress was steady. By mid-October, he had reached a significant milestone in his recovery. On a crisp Thursday morning, the club released a statement that would lift the spirits of United fans. Leny Yoro had returned to outdoor training at Carrington. The photographs that accompanied the announcement showed the young defender back on the grass, smiling as he went through his paces under the supervision of the club's medical team. It was a moment that felt like a turning point in his rehabilitation, a sign that the worst was behind him.